Welcome to the Thinking Green News Moment. I'm Chris Schneider, and my guest is Dan Johnson from Midwest Earth Builders. Welcome, Dan.
Yeah, thanks for having me on today, Chris.
Glad to have you aboard. So tell us, Dan, we've got some blocks here. What have you brought with you today?
Today I've brought what are called compressed earth blocks. They are a masonry block that we make with a hydraulic press. And we make these blocks from on-site soils that typically come out of the foundation when you dig the foundation, or from the septic or the sewer system. We take those soils and we mix them up, and then we send them through our hydraulic press, which kicks out some blocks at approximately 4 a minute.
And this is all done on site?
We can do them on site, or we also have our own site where we can make blocks for smaller projects, which then we can bring earth blocks to that particular building site.
And so what percentage of building sites are able to contribute 100% of the blocks for the project?
Well, so far of the projects that I've worked on, I would say well over half of them have the appropriate soils right on site.
Great. And then for those that don't, you're able to bring in some other ingredients to make them appropriate for the site?
Yeah, that's correct. What we need for a soil is a soil which has somewhere between 70% sand, with the remainder being primarily clay, but we can have some other soil components such as silt mixed in also. There is no exact soil that we need to have. It takes a wide range of soils. So if we're on site and we don't have enough, let's say, sand available, then we can have a truck bring in some mason sand that we can mix into our mix. Or if we have a really sandy soil, we can bring in a soil from the local area that has a real high clay content.
And how long have you been producing these bricks?
Well, I've been producing and building with earth blocks for approximately 12 years.
And what kind of a territory have you served, Dan?
Well, I originally got started in Colorado and have since moved out to Wisconsin. And so currently we're serving the area of Wisconsin, Iowa. We've done some projects. We would also serve Minnesota, although we haven't had any projects there yet.
And then most of the projects that you've had have been rural projects where you're talking about septics, or do you do in-town projects as well?
We can do in-town projects as well. One of the important steps, of course, is that if we're making blocks on site, is that we have the space in the room to do it. So for some of the projects which have been in like small subdivisions, often we do make the blocks in another location, somewhere else in town. One time I made them in a bowling alley, the parking lot of the bowling alley, and then we ship them over to the building site.
And Dan, what is your website?
It's MidwestEarthBuilders.com.
And a telephone number?
608-735-4595.
And you brought a tube here with you as well. What is that for?
Well, this particular block here is demonstrating how we can turn a wall into a radiant wall, similar to how people are heating their homes with a radiant floor heat. You can also do it in the wall. So in this case, we've put PEX directly into the wall. In this case, PEX would be running long coils through the wall, and then the liquid within it, which typically is water, is heated by the sun, for example, through like a domestic hot water system, or hooked up to a wood stove with a coil on it to heat up the water. Then it is transferred into the blocks through the tubing, and then radiates that heat back into the room.
What can Fox viewers do tomorrow for the least amount of money for positive environmental impact when it comes to building with your blocks?
Well, they can consider building with compressed earth blocks when they go to either build a new home or in a remodel project where we use the blocks as an interior veneer for thermal mass and for architectural details such as arches.
This is Chris Schneider with the Thinking Green News Moment.